Today, we're going to dive into a short but really beautiful fable. It's the story of one single, unique snowflake that had, well, a completely impossible dream. A dream that went against its very nature. And that's really the question at the heart of it all. I mean, what if a snowflake dreamed of summer? Think about that for a second. What happens when a creature that's literally made of cold and ice finds itself longing for the warmth of the sun? That contradiction, that's where our story begins.
So let's set the scene. We're high above the world in that silent, swirling cold where snowflakes are born.
I want you to just picture it. A huge, swirling cloud packed with millions of ice crystals. Each one a perfect, six-sided little miracle. But in all that sameness, one snowflake had a secret, a thought that made it completely different from all the rest.
And this was its wish. You see, while all the other snowflakes were just falling, just surrendering to gravity, this one had a goal. It didn't just want to be another part of winter. It wanted to experience the complete opposite, to understand the world in a way no other snowflake ever had.
And so, as it started to fall, its journey wasn't just a descent. No, it became a quest, a slow, determined drift toward its dream.
Let's kind of follow its path, shall we? It all starts in the cloud, where that silent wish is born. Then, in the upper air, it catches its very first glimpse of the sun. Just a pale, faraway light, but for our snowflake, it was a promise. As it drifts past the bare treetops, it sees the world it was born for, this whole landscape covered in white. And with every single foot it falls, the ground and its dream gets closer and closer.
And while it's falling, it's just watching everything. It sees the joy of winter. Kids playing down in the snow. It sees the quiet hope in the trees, their branches reaching up for any bit of light. And it can almost sense the life sleeping just under that blanket of white. A world that's just waiting for the one thing it dreams of, the warmth of summer.
Okay, so the journey is nearly over. The moment of truth is here. The snowflake is about to finally meet the very thing it's been dreaming about.
This is a classic case of expectation versus reality. On one hand, you've got the snowflake's dream, this idea of a gentle, life-giving warmth. But on the other hand, well, for a creature made of ice, the reality is something else entirely. It's an embrace so powerful, so intense, that it can only possibly last for a single fleeting moment. And then it happens. It lands on a surface just drenched in sunlight, and its journey is over. For one brilliant, perfect instant, it wasn't fallen anymore. It was just held. Bathed in the pure, unfiltered warmth it had wanted for so long, it finally, truly met the sun.
But what happens after a moment like that? What becomes of a snowflake that actually found the sun?
This is what was left. Just one. Its complex, crystalline, beautiful shape was gone, and in its place was a single, pure drop of water, shimmering in the very light it had been searching for.
But here's the thing you have to understand. This wasn't an ending. Not really. It was a transformation. The snowflake didn't just disappear. It changed its form. It went back to being what it was at its very core, becoming part of that great water cycle, ready to rise up again and maybe, just maybe, become a snowflake once more.
So what can we take away from this little snowflake's short but pretty extraordinary life? Let's unpack the lesson it leaves behind for us.
The story really offers us 3 bits of wisdom. First, to acknowledge our own nature, to really understand the fundamental truths of who we are. Second, to find the beauty in our own path, right? Just like the snowflake saw the world on its way down. And finally, to get that our individual moment, no matter how short it feels, is always part of a much, much bigger cycle.
And here it is. This is the ultimate twist. The snowflake thought its dream was to experience summer, but its real purpose was fulfilled when it transformed. Because as a drop of water, it would seep into the ground, it would nourish a sleeping seed, and it would help bring about the very green world it dreamed of seeing. Its end was actually summer's beginning.
So we'll end with a question for you to think about. The snowflake had one perfect, transformative moment, and it kind of reminds us that our own lives are really just a collection of moments like that. So the question is, how do we find the profound beauty and purpose